Hey, hi. Sorry, I've always wanted to do a this game contains scenes intro, but I also feel like I should warn you about what is to come. So welcome to the pre-intro. So first up, as per usual, this video is not really intended for minors, so hey, if you're a minor, this probably isn't the place for you. I joke a fair bit on the sexual side, and I say fucking shit way too much. So no surprises here, we're covering Quake, a pretty violent first-person shooter, but we've also got some footage in here from other games, like Control, Cyberpunk, Wolfenstein: The New Order, and Robocop Rogue City, as well as a few others, and also some scenes from movies like Equilibrium. I'd also be on the lookout for flashing lights. I've done what I can to minimize that kind of thing, but as always, I would much rather give you the warning. Also, another quick one, we're going to be talking about some games in here that I want to put forward now. This isn't going to be me recommending those games. It'll make sense when we get to that part, trust me, but the old anxiety has been spiking on that, and I just want to give you a heads up. And lastly, because we're covering Quake, I'm afraid I have some bad news. We kill so many dogs. I know they're Quake dogs, and they're probably filled with evil spirits from a concrete dimension, but my god, we kill so many dogs. I'm just saying, my hand was forced, okay? If you can, go pet a dog, especially for me, and give him a little treat as well. But please make sure you swing on back and stay tuned to Cloud Station 9, home of your silly cyberspace jester.
When you hear him suck his last breath, it is safe to stop the firing.
So, probably to zero surprise of people who know me, and maybe of the people who watch this channel as well, and also probably to a little dismay of the people from my hometown, I adore brutalist architecture. Or I guess at the very least, that and buildings which also carry the vibe of it. Look, I'm a video producer with a cute VT persona. Hey hi by the way, my name is K Galaxia, your cyberspace jester, and this is a video about a Quake mod. Look, I don't have a degree in architecture, I'm a horrid little art student. I don't know the minutiae and the offshoots of different forms of architecture. All I know is what has been passed down to me, and this video as well. There's a very good chance I'm wrong about what is and is not brutalism, but that's not really what this video is about. If you're looking for something that is about brutalist architecture, then well, I'd highly recommend you go watch Kendra Gaylord. She's really cool. Anyway, I grew up in the northwest of the UK, so I grew up near some pretty famous structures. Places like Manchester's Maths and Social Sciences building, and also the Renault building. And my personal favourites, Preston Bus Station, and another which, well, thinking about it, it probably isn't brutalist architecture, but I don't care, I'm showing it you anyway. Get a load of my concrete mushroom. Pennine Tower has been such a huge, important landmark in my life. I'd love to go inside it one day, but, well, I imagine it's a health and safety risk and probably filled with stuff I shouldn't be breathing in, but just, what a gorgeous building it is, right? Put it in Euro Truck Sim 2, SCS, I dare you. You guys are revamping the UK, so go ahead. Maybe even put in the M6 Giraffe as well. There's so many more gorgeous brutalist buildings and constructs, like Les Etoiles d'Ivry, Barbican Estate, Alexandra Road Estate, and this building? I don't know the name of it. Okay, that's the Brunswick building. You literally had an art print of it for years. But I guess you were just starstruck seeing it in the wild? You silly little bitch. I just saw it one time when I did a big walk around London because the tube was on strike, and it's hot girl shit not to cross the picket line if you don't need to. But, for real, my buns and my feet wrecked the day after. Anyway, it's swiftly moving the topic away from my bum. As I was saying, I really adore this kind of architecture. Its original intent especially, and also its brutal honesty. In the UK, a lot of post-war social housing was built to the brutalist style, and not a lot of it remains, which is a shame, and also something that will pop up later on in this video. These were and are buildings that wear their history, especially in wetter locations when they start being adorned with water streaks and rust. And Also graffiti, because hot damn, is that just a big blank surface sometimes? And yeah, I get that some people might hate that, but I don't. And I'm correct, because I'm funny and cute. These buildings were made to act as service buildings, be they banks or maybe even social housing. But whatever its purpose is or was, if it was maintained, it could last for a while. But that can be pretty damn costly, and it's normally only really left to listed buildings in the UK. Plus, brutalist architecture isn't exactly the most loved thing here. Hey, hi, it's Editor K here, because I did more research into this and it's even wilder than I remember. But we had a show on Channel 4 a while back called Demolition, which felt like an evil Dark Mirror version of the BBC show Restoration, which was dedicated to destroying a building from something they called the Dirty Dozen, 8 of which were brutalist structures. The show did actually on occasion say that actually demolishing isn't always the best thing to do. But
what they asked for was, please demolish our town centre.
No,
and you're not demolishing it.
Janet Street Porter demands concrete blood.
Oh, and also Channel 4's website statement of intent for the series was certainly interesting as well. The final live night of a series will see a spectacular celebratory demolition of one of the nation's nastiest eyesores. What the fuck is this? This is like the intro to Nod's campaign from Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun. What the hell, Channel 4? You're supposed to be the cool channel.
Sir, it's an honor to have you back.
Traitor.
I, for one, am gonna blame Margaret Thatcher. Hope you're burning in hell, you stupid cunt. But the thing about brutalism is it's an architectural style that I think has been utilized really, really well in fiction, as I've seen in some video games and other media, albeit as something more imposing and oppressive than, say, something designed to help people. Recently, I finished RoboCop Rogue City's expansion, Unfinished Business, and just, oh goddamn, what a look at this game is. The storytelling you can pick up just from walking around OCP's Omni Tower, it's another bullshit capitalist hellhole erected out of concrete with the most inhumane planning you can think of, interspersed with RoboCop blasting people in the dick, as is his right. Omnitower uses brutalist architecture in that we're not using this architectural style out of necessity, we're doing this because it's cheap and this is the shit future and we fucking hate people. A similar approach was also used in one of my favorite movies, Dread, with peach trees, and also in mega buildings from Cyberpunk 2077, including my beloved mega building H10. An inner city metropolis that is, in and of itself, a city within Night City, in which... Oh, excuse me, wait a second. I gotta go take this slide, because I fucking love this mod so much. Whee! Yay! Oh, wait, where was I? Oh, yes, of course! Concrete, and it being used to oppress people. One of the big reasons people hate brutalist architecture, I think, is due to how cold and unfeeling they can maybe find it. I can see how people would think it has a wave of almost inhumanity, which is quite funny because that disregards the actual original intention of the style, which was focusing on using what we had, which I guess over time, especially in fiction, has kind of moved into just making buildings that, you know, suffice. I guess a way to look at it is, it kind of feels more like, oh, I guess people need things to live, as opposed to people need things and this is the best stuff we have for the job. In fiction, and in some cases of real life as well, it's more often than not, it's concrete that is used to uphold forever empires and their imagery. One of the big titles in fiction that always comes to mind for me with this is Machine Games' Wolfenstein titles, especially The New Order. Not only did it introduce us to copiously over-the-top Nazi murder, which I fully endorse, but also Uber-Concrete, which, like, that's so wonderfully silly. It's the concrete of tomorrow, today. But, like, then, because the game takes place in, like, 1960 something, but also there's lasers, and I don't need to explain Wolfenstein to you. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite, very heavy-handed uses of concrete to evoke a cold, uncaring future in a film. Equilibrium, starring Christian Bale. I bet you thought I was gonna say something good like 1984 or something like that. No, I'm trash, baby. But yeah, you're watching the big silly who likes the movie when the guy does the wildest shit 360-degree kill move to save a dog. So many fascists killed to save a dog. But in the dog's defense, they were fascists. And the dog is very cute. But despite Equilibrium being written and directed by someone Garth Marenghi would call a really brave boy, the genuine power of using this projected belief of brutalism as straight-up text is actually really, really cool. But one of my favorite uses of brutalism in video games is, well, it's absolutely no surprise. It's Control. The Oldest House is one of my favorite locations in pretty much any game, and I love how it plays with the shape of brutalism. From the ordered construction of the Oldest House to beyond the threshold in the Black Rock Quarry, these shapes we've built out of concrete exist in an unknown world, built out of the Black Rock itself, a material so recognizable and yet so completely alien, a material we could maybe never understand that can be used to protect us if we learned its secrets, as opposed to trying to bend it to our will. Meanwhile, the concrete used to build the Oldest House itself both stands firm and also rigidly tries to break everyone into its own firm vision of ordinary, whilst also rotting and decaying. There is a mold forming in the concrete. Like an actual honest-to-God mold, it's sentient as well. I thought that shit only existed in my friend's uni kitchen, but no, it's here too. There's also another sinister evil, the main villain, the Hiss, that's taking root and merging itself into the cold, unfeeling walls, hoping to utilize this situation to its advantage. And there are those beings who came before the Hiss itself, eldritch, otherworldly beings encased in concrete like they're nuclear waste, and the containment procedures are beginning to fail. But before I get sidetracked and gush about Control a little bit, we did just mention eldritch entities and, well, I sniffed me a segue. Oh god, I called this section that, didn't I? Okay, I don't even like that title, and I wrote it, and I've had the entire time I've been producing this video to change it, but I haven't because I can't think of a better way to word it succinctly, but also, it's not very good, and now I have a lot of anxiety about this because I think people are going to misconstrue me saying this, and they're going to be all like, burn the witch, she hates Quake, and they're going to be like, we gotta tie her up and stick her on the pyre and everything, and it's like, tie me up, sure, but please don't burn me to death, because I promise, I actually really like Quake. I mean, come on, we all know the classic joke, right? I'm trans femme non-binary. Of course I love Quake.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You probably don't need me to sit here and tell you about how historically important Quake is, how it revolutionized 3D graphics, how it became a multiplayer hit, how several pieces of gaming vernacular came from it, and how it changed the nature of FPS forever by paving the way for titles like Half-Life and Team Fortress, whilst still existing within the code of titles released today. You don't need me to tell you that, even if I just did. And, like, look, beyond the cultural importance of the game, there's a lot of stuff in there that I like. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter. It feels fucking great to play. The maps and environments as well have such a beautiful, striking look to them. Nothing else looks like Quake. Everyone jokes that you can have it in any color as long as it's brown, but I think it does wonders with colder color palettes too. It felt so radically different in terms of vibes to most other shooters around that time. And I think a major part of that is definitely its soundtrack, famously composed by Nine Inch Nails, during my favorite period of Nine Inch Nails actually. I mean, okay, maybe stereotype number 2. Like every Nine Inch Nails album, I adore that band with every fiber of my being, but the oppressive nature of the Downward Spiral definitely played a major factor in the soundtrack for Quake. Okay, so come with me into the gallery 1 second. We're going to play some classic video game first-person shooter OSTs, and you're going to let me know how you feel about them, alright? We're going to play some Doom first. That sounded pretty good, didn't it, babe? Here's some Duke Nukem 3D. Okay, let's bring the funk. Here's Rise of the Triad. Babe, you're shaking that thing. Maybe enjoy some Quake 2. Bet it feels good to shake that moneymaker. Here's Quake. Quake's soundtrack is so dark, it's so oppressive, and it fits in beautifully with this weird discordant world. This game land that takes from satanic horror, the Eldritch Beyond, and, well, Doom. It's a vibe in first-person shooters I've only really ever experienced in the PS1 and N64 variants of Doom and Quake, when they were scored by Aubrey Hodges. I mean, okay, other shooters were doing this kind of thing too, like Blood, but Aubrey Hodges was out here taking games with thrash metal soundtracks and placing them in the crying baby dimension. But, well, as is the case with this kind of thing, I vibed with another game more. I didn't start off with Quake 1. I started with Quake 2, and then Quake 3, and then I went back to Quake 1. Quake 2 was one of my first proper games I played of my own volition. A real, hey, this is Kay's game actually? As kinda mentioned a few times on the channel. Some of my friends had Crash, the real ones had Spyro. Hey, how you doing? And I had Bold McBloke, aka Bitterman, but not this Bitterman. I played as a bloke who gunned from location to location, murdering the shit out of space Nazis on the planet Strogos in these giant, cold, unfeeling halls in which all manners of messed up shit happens. Their interplanetary defense cannon is honestly just a big handgun pointed at the sky. I fully believe that this shit rules. And also, Quake 3 is one of my all-time favorite LAN games. And hey, look, Doom was in this one, although he was probably scouting stuff to pinch for Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. Cheeky fucking prick. Quake 1, meanwhile, it had a lot of stuff I loved. Like, I liked a good chunk of the monsters, like Fiends, the Shal Wrath. No, I will not be calling them by the other name. The zombies who go, yup, when you kill them. And Shamblers, the biggest and fuzziest of my pals. The weapons also were pretty cool, like the nail gun is such a neat concept. And while the grenade launcher isn't Quake 2's grenade launcher, we can't all be perfect, but these sounds are still ingrained in my head. Although that's maybe due to another thing. As mentioned before as well, the maps have some beautiful visuals. Like, there is a lot of Quake 1 I do love. Stuff that really sings to me. But Quake 2 and 3 just felt more, I don't know, cohesive to me? And yeah, that feels weird to say regards Quake 3 because what a weird roster, right? But also, it's an arena shooter, so you can kind of say it's like Tekken. Look at all these pro tags who may be from other games doing a big kill together. Hey Slash. I guess what I mean is, I feel like Quake 2 had more of an idea as to what it wanted to be than Quake 1 did. But even then, Quake 2 wasn't supposed to be a Quake game, so I feel it's unfair saying that. It's no secret that the development of Quake was pretty damn fraught. I mean, making a game while its engine is still in development and having grand ideas and wondering what can be possible in this engine, and then seeing what actually is possible is, well, it's one hell of a kicker. For reference, I actually think Daikatana is closer to what Quake was supposed to be, and now Editor K is gonna kill me for making her play it again. So maybe I'll appease her by saying, maybe Hexen 2 is actually a better shout. Either way, one of us is going in the pillory for this. Also, there's like the kind of just a tad too tanky nature of some of the enemies, like the ogres and the black knights. Kind of took me out of a little bit of the flow. I can only hear the and the so often. I don't know if those were good impressions. I'm probably just going to keep them in, actually. Oh well. But like I keep saying, I do like Quake. I like it a lot, but I can't replay the original Quake like I do with Quake 2 or Quake 3. My relationship with Saving Private Willits is actually a little more complicated. I think that game gets good when you get strogged, and I wish we got Rituals expansion, but everything else is... Oh hey, look, it's Peter Stormare!
Hello, Corporal Kane. It's good to finally meet you.
Time machine.
To be completely honest though, I do struggle with pointing out what it is about Quake 1 that makes me just kind of go, maybe I'll play Quake 2 instead. Maybe I just prefer the instant action of Quake 2. Maybe I'm caving under Quake 1's oppressive vibes. Or maybe it's that time I did the Quake charity stream, which I didn't enjoy all that much, but I did play it with a randomizer, which was fun, until it said, oops, all shamblers, prepare your ass, pretty lady. Okay, but like, while it might not sound like it, I need you to know I vibe real hard with Quake 1. But I just vibe easier with Quake 2. I guess a better title for this chapter might be, I like Quake 1, but there are things that stop me from enjoying it more that I can't quite fully put my finger on. Plus Quake 2 was the first game I played properly, and it played much more of an impact on me, and while maybe realistically it shouldn't have been called Quake 2, maybe that name does add to the series' overall weird feeling of disjointedness, which kind of contributes to its character in some way. But that's a very long chapter name. I did hit a point though of realizing that I enjoy other people's contributions to Quake more than its original outing. Like Scourge of Armageddon splitting the vibes in half as opposed to Quake's usual structure of Slipgate, Tech Base, Slipgate, Dreamlands, kinda made the game feel a bit more digestible to me for some reason. Oh, and also Machine Games' episodes are wonderful to play through, and other people's mods push Quake into more fun directions for me, like Arcane Dimensions, which I feel is essential Quake gaming, The Immortal Lock, which feels like it hit all of Quake's themes so much better than Quake itself did, and also Bonk Jam, which flipped combat and movement on its head in such a refreshing way, by giving you a big fuck off hammer. Also, as you can probably guess, Quake Brutalist Jam 1 and 2 are showcases of some of the coolest map visuals and vibes I've felt in a while. I really got on with those two. All of these mods and expansions have their cool, fun spin on Quake. Arcane Dimensions has new weapons, new monsters in some cases, and new behaviors. Bonk Jam bonks. And now we're at Quake Brutalist Jam 3, and well, I'm making a video on it and you've seen the runtime. I have been grabbed. So for those who don't know, Quake Brutalist Jam is a mapping project headed up by a user called Macon. The last two have been massive map jams played in a modded version of Quake called Copper, which adds a lot of really cool things. But Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is where things get really interesting. See, like I kinda alluded to before, QBJ 1 and 2 are, well, they're Quake. It's Quake's weapons, Quake's monsters, Quake's tempo. It's Ranger in his funny little hat with his funny little oh! They are Quake, as at least molded by the hands of the community and not it. But Brutalist Jam 3 is different and kinda the same. We will get into that. But first of all, we need to be introduced to, well, the introduction. Okay, so here we are. We're in Quake Brutalist Jam 3, and things are already a little different. Like, the HUD looks different, and that's a pistol, and that's new. We should investigate this. See, Quake Brutalist Jam 3, like all the others before it, is built in Quake's engine, or at least a variant of it. It's been open source for years and there's variants upon variants. The source port they recommend for this is Iron Whale, which I recommend too. Anyways, as we had before, we have a new protagonist. Ranger, meet Rover. But it doesn't end there. QBJ3 also has a completely new weapon set. Instead of Ranger's usual loadout, Rover comes equipped with a pistol, a massively satisfying shotgun that kind of feels like a flak cannon, twin nail guns, a rebar launcher, grenade launcher, a multiple mini rocket launcher, and her new super weapon, the Invoker, which... oh, I love this thing. Also, I feel silly, I completely missed the Skullcracker. I love this thing. As opposed to the axe where the Ranger feels like he's delicately cutting up some kebab meat, this is a melee weapon with some goddamn heft. It really activates a part of my brain that goes club. And okay, some of this probably sounds very familiar, and well, yeah, it is. The shotgun is on input 3, and it feels rightfully super. The nail guns are just, well, it's 2 nail guns, the fire rate is higher. And the grenade launcher is still the grenade launcher, but I think the range might be lower. But the weapon sounds a hell of a lot clunkier, and you know what that does to me. Outside of audio and visual though, some of these weapons do actually do different values of damage from their usual Quake counterparts. As you would imagine, these are new weapons. And this does play an impact. The pistol is fast, incredibly accurate, and it has infinite ammo, but it's balanced by its need to reload, with its frankly gorgeous Time Crisis style reload bar. Like, this fucking rules. The rebar launcher as well can fire through enemies, making you think about lining shots up to kill several foes, or just hit home with high damage on one distant foe at the higher cost of nails. It has a real railgun vibe to it. The rocket launcher, firing a volley of 8 at the cost of 4 rockets, turns it into a weapon that can deal with crowds of lower level mobs, or maybe just a focus-fired exercise in fuck you, Shalrath! And the Invoker feels like a rightful super weapon, an answer to the BFG, clearing every enemy in the firing path and leaving them as a red silhouette. And it also doesn't kill you if you fire it in the water, John! Just kidding, buddy, you're great. There's even some new power-ups, like Vampirism and Berserk! Yes! Finally! Quake could steal something from Doom! And also, as you've probably seen from the footage, the enemy roster is very different. This one is quite interesting, so let's delve. QBJ3's Rogues Gallery is incredibly familiar, with a few new additions here and there, some being expansions of existing concepts, others being things I haven't seen before, things that really got my imagination going. I'm sorry, you're gonna get to hear me gush about this later on, and it's not actually based in anything, but you'll see. But yeah, there's some new guys here, such as the Swarmer and the Blister, and also the Amalgam, a mess of concrete and flesh that spews caltrops everywhere, which... Okay, we're gonna get back to the Amalgam, trust me. There's also been an evolution in terms of the basic grunt enemies, branching out from just Shotgun Dude and Laser. These guys are now the Trench Knights, and I love the look of these guys. They remind me a lot of Jinro's Kerberos soldiers, by way of Trench Crusade and a little bit of a Deathcore of Krieg. They're out here wielding pistols, shotguns, plasma rifles, and rocket launchers. And included in the aesthetic Trench Knight changes are the dogs, the ogres, and even the knights, both regular and death. And the changes for these extend further out from just their looks, but also their character arcs, which, okay, just like the Amalgams, we will get back to this, okay? Please trust me. But the big kicker for me is, a lot of these monsters are the monsters from Quake, with some small differences to attacks. Dog is dog, the Grenadier is ogre, the champion is the Death Knight. Except she can break me across her back and I'd be like, knights are knights, Scrags are servitors,
and Zendaya is Michi.
And the zombies are now constructs of sentient concrete, which is such a story vibe delight. The Shalrath is here as the Shalrath, which I find much easier to swallow. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. The Fisher. I don't like that. And the Spawns. The Spawns. Who the fuck re-invited the Spawns? Why the hell are they here? I hate these guys. Fuck off. Okay, well, it can't get much worse. Because look, the Shambler's here and... What the hell? His fuzz! You took off his fuzz! What did you do to the Shambler? Why would you do this? Why would you do that to my precious boy? He's more cheeked up from me. Okay, swiftly moving away from the topic of butt cheeks and their absolute clappability, I wanted to talk about the Amalgam and the Trench Knights and the monster roster in general, really, and why I love them, and, well, this might be me reading too much or making my own narrative, but please stick with me. Quake Brutalist Jam 3 does a really good job of making the enemies actually feel like a collective whole, as opposed to Quake's hot pot of Eldritch and Arcane, and, well, the first map of every episode. In a small way, actually, it kind of reminds me of Half-Life 2. Hear me out. The horrific creatures from beyond feel like collected families, and are aggressors who are taking the world for their own. The flesh worms are common to the world's waters. The fiends stalk the shadows, whilst the concrete has become twisted, growing flesh and teeth, screaming as it's birthed and pieced together wrong. Whilst some piles of concrete mildly resembling a human are coming to life, inhabited by malevolent spirits. All whilst the Shalrath and the Shambler stand tall, either as rulers of this concrete eldritch hellscape, or the appointed leaders here, sent by entities from voids beyond. And that leaves the Trench Knights, who to me remind me a little bit of the Metro Cops from Half-Life 2, because these are seemingly just regular people. I mean, there may be some variance between them. She can shoot swords out of her sword, which, that rules. But the Knights are just guys. The thing that hits this for me is their idle radio chatter, because they kind of speak in that classic military jargon, the entire
Target is mobile. Stop existing.
and things like that. But it gets real dark to me when you hear one of the idle lines from the Grenadiers, which is,
What are we getting paid?
these guys feel like mercenary forces. They're dedicated to taking you down for pay, whilst the world and the walls, the literal walls around them in some cases, are bleeding. The dreamscapes of Quake are getting paved over in masses of this tainted concrete, and these guys are collecting a paycheck. Also, hey, hi, just a quick little butt-in from me, but after I unlocked the art vault, you've got to find all the sigils on the walls and the monument. I believe in you, babe. I saw this piece of Trench Knight concept art and, well, it kind of tracks, doesn't it? It's such a fascinating take on the monsters of Quake, and such a unique identifier for QBJ3 itself. And it's one of those things that really makes me want to delve further into this world. But, and this is a key thing to remember with this, is Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is precisely that. It's a map jam. It's been contributed to by so many mappers who may well have different ideas, so maybe we should check these maps out, yeah? So as stated, the joy of something like Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is, well, it's a jam. If you're not entirely aware as to what I mean by this, or, I don't know, you're toast-pilled? Is that what the kids are saying these days? Totally goated with the preserves? What the fuck am I doing? Anyways, an attempt at being comedic by misunderstanding current meme lexicon, which I really hope isn't just white people stealing Aave to the side. Map jams like this are normally a challenge in which mappers are given a certain amount of time to create a map to a theme. In this case, brutalism, but there are plenty of other themes out there, like Halloween, Christmas, sewers, and of course, bonk. Now you can call this bias or whatever, but I do feel like in terms of presentation, Brutalist Jam has always knocked it out of the park. The hub for Brutalist Jam 2 has remained a mainstay in my head, and a massive inspiration for a setting I want to try and build upon in a tabletop game I like running. It really invokes vibes of Blam, the idea of a world just encased in cables and concrete. Brutalist Jam 3, meanwhile, takes a very different approach this time with the Monument. A very Barbican Theatre meets the oldest house hub map, with a monument to the Invoker in the middle and the numerous doors around, taking us to everyone's visions for the jam itself. And goddang, do we have a lot of visions. Overall, there's about 77 maps in Quake Brutalist Jam 3, about double the amount of maps in QBJ 1 and 2, and the maps are also separated out into 3 galleries. There's the main gallery, helmed by the centerpiece, Escape from KOE 37 by Meizu, a map I am yet to be brave enough to play, with other hallways dedicated to fan favorite maps from QBJ 1 and 2, remade in 3, and another dedicated to new mappers on the scene. And there is some really cool stuff in there, like goddamn. Some of it is a little janky, and some of it is outright amazing, but I love the fact that this hall just exists. We will get into that later. The neat thing about jams is just how everyone interprets the theme though, right? Everyone has definitely brought their own spin to it. You get some action movie themed maps, some more foreboding spaces, and some of them are, well, I'm reminded of the violence in movies and the sex on TV. You can see inspiration from films like Dread, Dark City, The Crow, and more dreamlike spaces like Constantine's Manor from Thief. And some map makers might say, fuck it, here's a scene from a 1980 Polish comedy movie in a map that feels like the neighborhood my cousin is from. Now, we would be here all day if I went into every map, and, complete honesty, I haven't played every map. I'm sorry, I'm a fake gamer. Forgive me. There's like 77 maps. I've done about 70% of them. Look, I've been seeking employment this year because haha, games industry, haha, showreel available on request. You should hire me because I'm very funny and good at what I do, and I look really cute in round glasses. But there's a lot of maps here that I really want to shine a light on. So let's take a little tour, shall we?
Cloud Station Live.
Darkness Fair and Nothing More is the kind of Quake map I absolutely adore. It's that wonderful, perfect melding of everything that makes Quake, Quake to me. It's a place that once was something more, a research facility in this case, named in memory of Rebecca Heinemann, that has since fallen to forces beyond its control. There's some good scary beats in here, like right near the start, and the flooded container basement with the spawns, alongside some really good scene setting from diaries you find. I really do appreciate how vague everything is in this map though. All we know is that the people here found something evil and it's taken over, but we don't know what, we don't know how, and we don't know why, because all we read is station maintenance text and stowed regrets and feelings. It's the kind of thing that makes these walks through places long gone even more impactful to me. Was it the Eldritch Beyond, or was it corporate overstretching? Who can tell? The key thing to me though is, whilst it maintains this cool, uneasy atmosphere of the broken base, it's still a blast to play through. It recognizes QBJ's 3 strengths as a bit more of an aggressive shooter, and it's also scary, but not too scary. And sometimes, it's even funny. Oh, hey, hi, Editor K back just for a quick second. I had to go back and capture this map, and I ended up doing a 100% run, and, well, I found this secret for the first time, and it is such a gorgeously bittersweet room. It's a wonderful tribute to an absolute industry icon we've sadly lost, and also a really loving shout out to friends. I love things like this in community maps so much. It adds such a lovely personal stamp to a map. You got my heart good, Space Pirate. Chemical Burns Around My Neck is honestly a map I really recommend checking out a little bit after you've completed an introduction. Another really cool map in the pack which is fully worth playing to get introduced to everything new. For example, it covers the new weapons, new monsters, and it also covers cool new mapping functions. Oh, hey Hypnotic! We'll be talking about you next video. You're not free from me, darling. My reasoning for this is the map feels like a return to an introduction, only it's gotten more cursed over time, kind of adding to that the concrete is evil feeling. It's another liminal dreamscape turned violent, with the walls breaking and bleeding this weird purple ichor, and it feels like a decent test of returning to everything you've learnt so far. It's also got a fair few rough fights in it, including the Quake staple of Welcome to the Slow Elevator from Hell, but it's definitely worth a stop amongst these concrete worlds. Hey hi, Editor Kate from the future here. So I actually did get around to playing Escape from KOE 37, Meizu's big central map, whilst I was working on this video, and to no surprise, it's really fucking good. It's a Goliathan map, a big old boy, as you can probably tell by standing near the map's gate. But what really got me with this map is just how intricate the whole thing is. The best way I could think to describe it is, Escape from KOE 37 feels like the closest thing in this mod pack to its own fully fledged minigame. It has a branching narrative, which it gives out through notes you can find and radio transmissions you receive from other people helping you out. But alongside that, it has a lot of fun with the features that QBJ3 has. There's lots of really inventive mapping here, and also there's multiple endings, which is wild. One thing that really did strike me with this map though is its use of the more beastly side of the mod's bestiary. Moving throughout the facility, you're mainly facing off against the Trench Knights. It's only when an eldritch entity occasionally plays with you or containment gets broken do you start seeing fiends, shamblers, and shalraps. It does a really good job of making these creatures feel like creatures from the beyond. Like, stuff is severely fucked up if you're seeing them. KOE 37 is a really ambitious map. It shows what kind of cool stuff can be done if this was set up as a whole game, and whilst there's a few bits and pieces I'm not super fond of, namely some of the writing, and also trying to keep on top of what's happening in an ending text-wise, honestly this was a bit of a sensory onslaught and I still don't know what was going on as I comb through this in editing, this map is excellent. It's an absolute triumph. Just a small word of advice, if you're pretty new to Quake or you find yourself struggling with KOE 37, there's absolutely no shame in knocking the difficulty down a peg. And if anyone tells you there is, bring them to me and I'll kick their ass. Seriously, this map is 4 stars for a reason, and I think it's more important to be able to experience it than experience it how some arbitrary idiot online might be like, it's the true way to be played. Nah, play maps, have fun. Okay, here's a quick one for the map Pendragon, because Pendragon itself is a quick little fun map from the First Timers Wing I wanted to highlight. Partially because it falls into one of my favorite level design ideas, which is, what if up? Honestly, I love me some verticality. I mean, you can take the copy of Thief away from the girl, but why would you do that? It's her favorite game, give it her back. I also wanted to put it down because it utilizes its quite enclosed spaces super well, and it's also a very fun, quick little first timer map with some fun set pieces, and also some pretty neat imagery. And I really hope you had fun making it, Quiet. Also, this is such a neat little secret. Hell yeah. Penis Day at the fucking gym. This fucking map. One of 2 maps from Avix, the other we've seen already. This map is fucking something. On one hand, we've just got some really fun design with some great fights and also some fun exploration. And on the other...
Anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Well, my experience might be limited with Avix's work, but considering the other map was Peter Griffin talking about coming, and me killing Concrete Brian, I guess I should just remain scared at all times. We got memes, we got dastardly banana traps, we got an arch file, what the fuck? We also got rankings on my dog murder, look, I don't feel good about it, okay? And we got nasty little audio pings on the map. Ha, I bet you think you got me with those Discord pings, but joke's on you, bitch. I'm on Do Not Disturb and people don't talk to me all that often anyway, so next map.
Cake uranium, never mind the reason. Also shoots and ladders and a ball.
Doesn't this seem like too much stuff?
Well, I'm coming. Holy f...
Well, it's time for me to clock in for another day at the T4T factory on Godflesh. It's hard work, but hey, somebody's gotta do it. Godflesh has one hell of a flow to it that I absolutely love. It's a map that feels really dedicated to you just cutting through it, with quick arenas, wonderful placement of explosive boxes, and also a real recognition of weapon strengths when you're given them. A nice big narrow hallway with knights and you've got the rebar launcher? You know that's hitting that 2-for-1 railgun euphoria. The big thing that really hits me with Godflesh though is its visuals. It feels like playing for a really neat industrial album cover. The muted color palette with flashes of vivid green has some real power to it. I adore it. Also, this feels weirdly like the closest approximation to the best LEGO color, trans neon green, I have ever seen in a game. The end of the map as well? What a vibe. Honestly, it's super cool to see stuff like this in a Quake map. I fucking adore this. Great job, Knight Leveni. I really hope I pronounced your name right. Doom to Start Again is one of those maps which is a genuinely very pleasant surprise. I mean, maps being remade in other engines is a tale as old as time. Entryway and Hangar have been remade in shooters immemorial. I mean, look, here's me hitting someone in the balls in Fallen Ace's take on it. As opposed to being just a map remake, however, Doom to Start Again looks at Doom 2's opening maps, Entryway and Underhalls, but it melts them into its own thing. And also, in my eyes a little bit, it takes inspiration from all over Doom, like the armor from Up the Stairs on E1M1, and this part which reminds me of Outside Nuclear Plant. I know that this is probably just a callback to Doom 2, but I think it's the curve. I know, my mind is constantly on curves. It's a really fun map to run through though, because this isn't just a map remake. It's somebody making a really neat collage whilst playing to QBJ3's strengths. It's excellent. Completely worth a go. Section 28, named precisely after what you think it's named after, is a map in the newcomer section that you could have easily fooled me into thinking it belonged in the main hall. It understood the assignment perfectly. The map's got properly oppressive vibes, not really akin to the likes of some of the Jam's more abstract dream worlds, but in a kind of more grounded yet still waking nightmare-y kind of light. In Klono's own words, it mixes aspects like Thatcher Britain and post-war housing in a blender, and the map really plays with you by creating infinite hallways, and they really evoke feelings that I have felt myself in real life, honestly. Partially from places I visited, like certain prefabricated or certain brutalist structures, but also from the time when I was in hospital, primarily in Royal Preston, because it does feel like that constant maze. One of the aspects I also find incredibly powerful about this map is its use of the rainbow motifs against a cold color palette. It really evokes that vibe of, hey look buddy, we care, this is for you. Don't talk about the fact as to why it's cold and covered in monsters. It's for you. I also have to give big love to the secret shambler watching television asking, hey, what's on box tonight? Because, like, that's a phrase that makes me feel incredibly at home. And also the ending text of be gay, do crime, hate Thatcher. Fuck yeah, buddy. If you're not sure why we should be hating Margaret Thatcher, then, first of all, I'd look it up. But if you don't have the time to do that, I'd recommend playing Thatcher's tech base. It's good education at the very least, I guess. I don't believe in hell, but I really hope she's burning down there. Failing that, I hope the worms find her good food and that her headstone remains a gender-neutral bathroom. Overscoped Clusterfuck from Rabbit is another map that really got my attention. A bit like Pendragon, this map also is pretty dang dense and relies on verticality. But this time, as opposed to Girl Go Up, this time Girl Go Down, which makes her a hell of a lot braver than DJ Khaled. The map's mostly split into two, starting on the surface with its stark, almost monochrome atmosphere, with acidic water and crucifixes. It's a really daunting location. And eventually, you reach the underground, a much warmer feeling location where the map really feels like it opens up, with a bit more exploration and also some occasional coloured lighting, which actually gave off some vibes I really liked. Across the map as well, we also see writings in Tokipona, Therian symbols, And we also meet some of Rabbit's OCs. Hey Io. Hey Ziff. Oh, and hey, this one's got a paw print on it. I wonder what...
Now I am become death, the destroyer.
Progression feels neat with you picking up the weapons as you go, sometimes in really quite memorable set pieces. And Rabbit just really knows how to make movement in an arena, or if you're platforming for secrets, just refreshingly fun, which is something I find highly commendable. I mean, I was never good enough to completely finish the Bonk Jam maps, but I loved those as well, just as much as I love this. But hey, just asking as one cool rabbit to another. Granted, I'm much lesser because it's just a bunny suit, but do you fancy giving me the secrets to mobility success? Am I using this as an excuse to post Bunny 1A? I guess that's up to you, but more importantly, this map rules. Okay, can I start this with a signature K silly moment? It took me way too long to realize that Radiator Yang is Robert Yang. Honestly, it was like finding out Syriac makes Doom maps, except that actually was something I had no idea about, and Radiator Yang had like all the clues in the world. I'm just a little silly. Anyways, Robert's made a lot of really fucking good gay games media that I can maybe feature in this video. I'm saying words so I can bolster this bit out and put some in. We'll see. But he's also made a lot of really fucking good maps and levels for Quake and other games. If you're interested in map design or queer media, and look, I've read my comments, I know you're either one side of the Venn diagram or there's a good chance you may well be the wondrous middle, I highly recommend you check his website out. There will be a link in the description. There's even a blog post about this map on there. It's a really good read. Right. Anyway, one need not be a house. This map is a masterpiece. I really adore its incredibly dreamlike atmosphere, which is really accentuated by the music choice actually. It's got a real Mist and Riven vibe to it, which I think that's just by design by reading the blog. There's also a lot of inspiration taken from Louis Kahn, who made some quite frankly gorgeous structures, and also a little bit from the Halo map, The Silent Cartographer, which, well, that's one of my all-time favorite Halo missions. The biggest thing I love about this map though is how non-linear it is. I've played through this one now like 3 times. I've had to go through a few times for capture, but no one path has ever ended up feeling the same. It makes fights I've done a few times feel radically different as I come at them from new angles with different loadouts, but it never feels imbalanced. It's absolutely wonderful work. I also really like the ending portal as well. Once again, I recommend checking out the map and then reading Robert's post about it. It's a really cool deep dive on an absolute standout map. Ooh, okay, right. I've written down the names of quite a few more maps, but I am worried about the runtime, so please just let me fire off a few more in quick succession. Please do not think it's because I think your map is inferior. It's absolutely not. I know I'm just a silly bitch who can go on forever, and I have a little bit of anxiety about runtime sometimes because a lot of people make jokes about the length of my videos. Anyways, here's some standout maps. Blood Train by Chaos Ado, Tower of Sorrow from Softy, Total Recall by Annihilazor, Devils, Demons, and Alien Monsters by Scampy, Screeching Under a Concrete Moon by Rictoy, The Smell of Sunshine by H4724. I definitely got that right on the first take. Slavic Surroundings by Jakob M. Das Brut by Zebido72. Encased by Pixeldud. Oh, also, I've actually got 2 maps here that were given to me on a note by a very lovely bear in the dead of night. And hot damn, he's given me some lovely choice recommendations. Namely, The Whispering Star by Milestone and Whisked in the Pan by Recycled OJ. Also, all the salmon is gone from my fridge, but I guess the ferrymen must take their tax. And this note also came with it.
Brutalism is when there's concrete. The more concrete, the more brutalismer it is.
Hey, that bear knows what he's about. Wait, hold on a second, there's something else.
Ask your doctor to draw 1A. Why does she as tall with tits to match?
Hell yeah, baby. This guy gets it. Honestly, I could keep going on about maps and recommending more of them. Your faves also may well vary from mine. We could be here for ages and, well, like I'll say at the end of the video, please let me know your favorites. But my reasons for loving Quake Brutalist Jam 3 go beyond the mod itself. Let me explain. So, hey, if I can channel and quote the world's funnest man for a second, you know, the true magnate of joy, Team Canada era WCW Lance Storm. If I can be serious for a minute. I've been having a really shitty time lately. Not making this video, this is honestly one of the things that actually really keeps me going. But ever since being let go from my job in 2023 and, well, not really having anything particularly solid in industry because, well, oh god, oh Jesus Christ, it's been difficult to be excited by games sometimes. It feels like sometimes we see projects born to essentially die, with people losing their jobs from it with a dull thud, and maybe some less deserving others with a golden parachute. Since being let go, I've kind of been hovering around the indie space, and whenever I get work, it's really kind of nice. Along with this, my taste has kind of been skewing a little more indie as well, which I've always normally tried to skew more towards, but it's been fun playing more indies and looking forward to them, whilst also experiencing more console titles from older gens through emulation.
Welcome.
It's been kind of nice. The slightly lower price point for indie games that feel more personal in every way is great. I'm still incredibly limited in terms of what I can buy because I don't earn that much money at all, and bills and shit like that to live. Haha, I've been fighting with myself, wondering how to word this. But basically, whenever I buy an indie game, I feel like I'm buying something which feels like it has more connections to its creators. And that's something that means a lot to me when playing video games, whether that's a personal story, or just them showing me the things they love in an almost Guillermo del Toro kind of way. I don't want to say that to solely dunk on the AA/AAA game space, because like, there have been some really fucking cool games that have come out from it recently, and also some games that are considerably less cool, and some games which also have far too many additions and they kind of scrub history in pretty gross ways. And yeah, I'm just dunking on WWE titles at this point. That might be a future video, we'll see. But yeah, I do feel like with indie titles, even ones that are traditionally published, you're getting something that feels less tampered and a bit more personal. And in most cases, that rules. But in other cases, well, I've had situations that have left me feeling like shit. Okay, so this is probably no surprise to people who know me or have seen me posting, but one of my most anticipated games of all time, maybe ever, was a really weird, obtuse sim that took place in an alternate history cyberpunk Poland. It was a game called Peripeteia, at least I think that's how it's pronounced, and like, it looked really cool. It was a future in which, well, like the philosopher Fred Durst would state, everything is fucked, everybody sucks. It's not an easy game to recommend to people in the slightest, just like a few games I really enjoy. Video on Beyond Citadel, probably coming never, Jesus Christ. But Peripeteia really did strike a chord with me. There's a lot of vibes in it which kind of feel like Transallegory. And as someone with a lot of family history in Poland, that country is actually a fantastic location to set a shit cyberpunk future in. Like that old Tumblr post goes, Polish game development, Warsaw? Bad! But, well, then the news came out about it. The fact that one of the lead devs is a fucking homophobic and thinly veiled transphobic scumbag. I know people might be like, how didn't you know? Didn't you go on the game's Discord? And no. I struggle with Discords like that sometimes, and more often than not, they can be some of the worst places in the world. I'm not volunteering my time to go to a place like that. That's like volunteering to French kiss the elephant's foot and sneak a finger around. It makes me sad that something that evoked a very particular vibe of cyberpunk that I really fuck heavy with was made by a fucking prick. Anyways, there's a reason whenever I use cyberpunk style footage, you see me use footage from other Polish cyberpunk games and not the one which had the visuals that spoke the loudest to me. The visuals that feel like a true Neuromancer-esque cyberpunk trash future. A future that I love the look of. And look, with Peripateia, there's a whole can of worms there that I do not want to touch with a fucking barge pole. This is, at the end of the day, a video about a Quake mod, and don't you worry, darling, we will be getting back to that. But I just kind of wanted to talk about this because, like, it's not just Peripateia, is it? Similar shit happened with Victory Heat Rally, with the devs of that game just turning out to be rancid as hell too. It made me incredibly anxious about a video project I made last year in which I really sang that game's praises. And it really just hit me, you know? Honestly, seeing stuff like this is super disheartening, and it hasn't really stopped there. It's difficult to talk about some of the other stuff I keep seeing, that stuff I really don't like, but also calling it out is dangerous in that, oh, you don't like this? Well, in that case, no job for you, which, yeah, that's kind of fucked, right? I'll still happily openly state that generative AI fucking sucks though, get that shit out of here. Oh, we used it for the concept! Hire a fucking artist. And the layoffs, especially when people have moved long distances, in some cases, like a friend of mine, countries. Oh, and speaking of layoffs. Like, it's this and everything else I've kind of mentioned before. It makes me feel like my head is being broken with hammers here. QBJ3, however, is a game, let's call it what it is, they've basically made their own game here, that was worked on by people from all over the world, and it fucking rules. I know QBJ3 isn't the first project to be made by people in remote parts of the world. It's actually very prevalent in indie, but QBJ3 is a game that kinda appeared recently that grabbed me by the shoulders and just straightened me back out. QBJ3 has made me feel hopeful. To see something this cool, this well designed, be collaborated on by so many people from all over is fucking rad. I mean, sure, the base components of QBJ3 were worked on by a base team who you can actually go visit in the monument. But if you read the readmes for each map in the jam, you'll see the collaboration goes further beyond, with all these mappers helping each other out. Seeing veterans from within the Quake sphere like Radiator Yang, Rabbit, and Nightleveni, I'm still incredibly sorry if I am mispronouncing that, to new faces on the scene, which also, can we please just note how fucking cool it is that there is an entirely dedicated wing of the hub to new mappers and collaborators. This is such a fucking neat way for new people's work to get noticed, get constructive criticism, and just be celebrated. And also just giving new mappers a fucking chance, which is more than can be said for the current industry. From playing this jam and really feeling it, I've seen a bunch more mappers work whose work I'm really excited to check out now, and new mappers who I hope I get to see more projects from in the future. And also, right, okay, I expect this is something nigh on everyone expected me to talk about, but goddamn, this jam has so much cool queer storytelling. Like, okay, some of this is probably me projecting, which is kinda how I felt when I played through Overscoped Clusterfuck. But I mean, Godflesh, Pendragon, Section 28, these maps are here, outright shouting fuck fascists, gay and trans rights forever. Whether that's in the map itself as a storyline, or maybe just a small hidden away celebration. And I mean, given the state of shit today, it's stuff that honestly feels thematically so fucking powerful in this mod. As I kind of brought up before with the oppressor nature of the Trench Knights and their barks, it feels incredibly fucking dope for a map jam to just take this kind of stance, especially within the retro shooter community, because, look, okay, I know the kind of funny jokes about Quake's current fan base, and Doom, and other games, as I kinda jokingly stated earlier in the video. I'm trans-femme non-binary, of course I love Quake. But well, there's still some shit, isn't there? The amount of times I've heard elder statesmen hitting that classic, "Man, games were better back in my day. None of this woke nonsense, it's just for capacity to be freely open and funny." And it's a little bit like, you know some of us like those games too, right? Like Deus Ex, No One Lives Forever, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines are classics I absolutely adore, with, honestly, some pretty fucked up shit in them. It's hot girl shit to be able to recognize this kind of thing. Like, Shadow Warrior is a game with some really cool weapons and level design, and some real interesting experimentation with the build engine, but it also features an old white guy playing a Chinese guy, and you know they're doing the voice. Hey hi, Editor K here. I'm trying not to turn this into every opportunity possible to just point at John Galt and be like, what the hell, how was this acceptable? But well, it just keeps happening, doesn't it? And also on top of this, there's recent games as well, like Ion Fury, a shooter I wish I could recommend to people, but, well, there's the everything that happened. Oh, but hey, look, it's totally worth it for this joke, right? Peak of fucking comedy right there. So, naturally, QBJ3 comes out, and there's a lot of praise for it on Slipseer, but also we get shit like this as well.
It's a really good map pack. 11 out of 10 in my opinion. Completely filled with monsters, but the politics and pro-LGBT propaganda are off the charts. I really like the new weapons and monsters. And of course, our charismatic rover. But shouts like "be gay, commit crimes" are unacceptable in my opinion. And what about being tolerant of others? Believe me, I, and others, have some political concerns.
I am particularly indignant at the propaganda of non-traditional orientation. I don't like it very much. I don't like you either. I was raised on traditional values in my country. It is prohibited, which I welcome. This game is also played by teenagers.
I'm sure it is, but I'm yet to see them.
Why should they see it?
It's quite cool.
I don't know why I gave them those voices, but like, you can feel it, right? You can basically hear it in the text. Also, look, I don't want to come across as judgmental here, but how the fuck did you not notice the explicitly trans-theming in Godflesh? A map you complimented earlier in your review, like, your performance review is going to come in at T for T Factory, buddy, and I gotta be honest, it ain't looking good. And look, the thing is, it isn't just happening here, it's happened with other projects I love, like Meowgun, another one of my favorite games I've played this year. But something that fills my heart is, hey, they aren't standing for this shit. And, like, rightfully so. We've seen frankly excellent communities really stand by those who are marginalized in it. Communities like Ultra Kills, Unbeatables, Strives, and, well, the Quake community. It's not a surprise to see Macon stand up to nonsense like this, but it is, honestly, uplifting as all hell. To see a project leader and a team put forward an incredibly cool, very anticipated map jam, and allow map makers and artists to create the narratives they want, or even shout out communities they belong to, or just make a cool, fun identity piece, whilst looking at shit like this and being like, hey, no, is really, really lovely. That's giving a shit about games and their artists. And like, yeah, this isn't unique to Quake Brutalist Jam 3. We've seen plenty of games try and do what they can, be that with representation through characters and stories, standing up for people in their community, or even just with simple celebration and the capacity to express yourself. I'm not trying to say that games would be improved with pride flags in everything forever. I mean, I make a joke about that every June. Come along now.
It has begun!
But I am saying that standing by your fans, or showing that you at least care, absolutely fucking rips, and it means the world to see it. Like I said at the start of this section, I've been having a shit time lately. A big part of that is due to, well, as said a fair bit, the games industry. But the other part is, well, the dog shit we see from grifters like that breast milk mafia bozo, and the algorithms that are designed to bolster their voices. Oh, and also people just posting their shit over on other websites. What the fuck are you doing? It's cool to see a lot of games take a stand against this, but Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is the one that came at the right time for me. And like, look, I'm sure there's loads of examples which do this that I could talk about, but, well, I kind of feel I'm already kind of here just going, ah! Like, this was just supposed to be a video about a Quake mod. But, well, here we are. Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is a game that's proven to me that, hey, despite the fact the industry feels like an inhospitable wasteland that's got some, frankly, incredibly shitty people out there, there's a lot of love still out here. And I have Quake's community to thank for that. I don't really feel like I'm part of Quake's community. I feel more like a crazy lady driving past going, "Thank you for the cool mods," whenever I play them. But, hey, I am really thankful. So, I feel comfortable in saying this. I think Quake Brutalist Jam 3 might be one of my favorite games I'm going to play all year. I know it sounds incredibly preemptive, but this happened last year with Hardcoded. QBJ3 was the game that just came at the right time. It's a game I've properly fallen for. It's taken a classic that I, admittedly, have struggled to get into, and adjusted it both ever so slightly and yet quite majorly into a familiar, yet entirely new game. A game I outright fucking adore. And the way we get to experience it currently is not as its own game, but as the mod pack, which I fuck with majorly. That is such an exciting way to look at things. We get to see how everybody else has taken the ball and ran with it. And that'll probably play a huge impact on any future projects using this mod set. QBJ3 houses a game I would love to see made into its own thing, which, after reading the README, fuck yeah, hell yeah, I wish you all well with doing that. But also please don't destroy yourself in the process. If there's any help I can offer you whatsoever, please do shout. But alongside the fact that this is just straight up an incredible outing by some of the Quake community's finest in a real standout map jam, it's a game that's made me fall in love with both the art of games and just the idea of making games again. Or I guess in my case, making videos in and on games. I have no idea how to make Quake maps, but I mean, like, hey, if you're interested in making maps for games, then like, there's no better time than now. There's plenty of tutorials, and hell, maybe you could just emulate some old games like TimeSplitters 2 and fuck around with the map maker. If you enjoy that, move on to the more advanced programs, you know? To try and summarize it, there's a lot of reasons as to why I absolutely adore Quake Brutalist Jam 3. It feels like a love letter to Quake, as well as being a genuine lesson in community and development from all over the world. Something a lot of bigger companies could do with learning when they're done chasing the infinite line go up whilst aboard the white pony. Maybe, allegedly? Do I need to say that here? I don't know. I don't know what I need to say to cover my ass here. There is a wide surface area. But also, QBJ3 is just a genuinely great piece of art that stands by all the artists who worked on it in actually meaningful ways. Whether that's devoting a wing of the hub map to newcomers, or standing by its contributors when they're bringing in messages like trans rights or fuck fascists. I'm not trying to say that I think Quake Brutalist Jam 3 is here and it's going to fix the games industry. I think we need a few more things first, really. Like unions actually being recognized by studios, and state and country support for artists that doesn't just go into tax incentives for large companies, which don't support the artists because those studios probably aren't using those incentives to support their workers. We could also maybe do with that fancy expansion pack the French released for the Pillory to be used in, you know, certain Bobby Kotick level special case uses. Honestly, I've never been more happy to be described by people as grabbable, biteable, but never sliceable. The mod is a genuine treat, and I'm sure it's absolutely no surprise that I really recommend you check it out. But some people here might be like, hey, I don't own Quake. And, well, there's a multitude of reasons for you to not want to buy it currently. But I do have some cool news for you. You don't need to own Quake to play it. While it's recommended that you do play it with Quake and Iron Whale, there is actually a standalone build of QBJ3 utilizing a project called LibreQuake. And that's the version I used to capture the footage for this video. And it's the version I've been playing. If you don't know, LibreQuake is a fully free open source FPS project ran by Lavender.pet, running on Quake's source code and non-copyrighted free assets, and is designed with the intention of being able to run decades worth of Quake mods without the need to actually own Quake itself. You just need a source port to run it, like Iron Whale or FDEQW. It's a little bit like FreeDoom, which, if you didn't know about FreeDoom, you know now, so go download it and maybe use eDoom. Don't download GZDoom. I mean, bilinear filtering on by default and a dickhead project head who vibe codes goes something something. Go enjoy some Doom mods while you're here. But anyways, the fact it runs as a standalone project that utilizes LibreQuake is honestly super fucking cool. It makes the mod massively more accessible, and it highlighted another really fucking cool project I didn't know about, and think you should check out yourself because, well, there's a lot of cool Quake mods out there. When I think about it, QBJ3, alongside some other really cool projects I've played lately, like Private Stone, Meowgun, and Half-Life Paradigm and Half-Life Ares, which I haven't played, but shh, this is called Script Flow, okay? Has reinforced my resolve to stick around here, making videos about games and for games, and it did it whilst giving me a game that also gave me a shotgun that acts like a flak cannon. And honestly, I think that's one of the nicest gifts you can give a trans femme non-binary girl who has had a frankly shit time with it lately, or just a nice gift in general if I'm honest. It's almost enough to make you forget about the dog murder and the spawns.
Okay, the mod's really good, but I still hate spawns.
So that's a video that rapidly became a different video as I was writing it. But, well, I'm a girl who wears a heart on her sleeve and is physically incapable of half-assing because for some mere mortals, and shit heels down the gym who say leg day is for girls, I have enough on one cheek for one whole ass. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've played QBJ3, let me know what your favorite map of the bunch is, and also, if you've made a map for it, please do say howdy. It'd be really lovely to be able to thank you for being part of a project that has massively reassembled my morale. While you're here as well, feel free to drop any Quake mod recommendations if you got them. It'd be really nice to build like a library of Quake mods for people to check out. But even then, if you just enjoyed the video, letting me know would, well, it would make my day, and it'll probably make me blush a little as well if I'm honest. Anyways, I'm going to start working on the next project. We are going back to the Heavy Metal Fact 2 script. It's nearly entirely written and it is pretty much entirely captured, but considering I've got a lot of stuff on, it may be a little further down the line. Like this video, it also scope creeped quite heavily, but I'm proud of what I've got done for it. Imagine if Sin Reloaded came out whilst I was working on it as well. That'd be pretty buck wild, huh? But if that video sounds up your alley, please do subscribe. And hey, I've got a few videos on here as well, ranging from racing games and trucks to Max Payne and Command & Conquer Renegade, as well as a trans visual novel sex adventure, which, well, it really pulled on my heart. It's a game that meant a hell of a lot to me. Oh goodness, anyways, that's enough of me talking. I mean, this has somehow transitioned into me being cool credits KVO, so I should really get moving. I will catch you all next transmission. Okay, darlings?